Okay, so briefly, we had 70 adults with HIV enrolled in this study, mean age of 56. Just over a third were female, and about 50% had painful peripheral neuropathy in their feet. First, we wanted to compare their physical performance of everyone that we enrolled to establish normative values obtained from the literature. And this is with regard to gait speed. So if our sample matched expected norms, we would expect those blue bars to have a norm, sort of a bell-shaped normal distribution. But what we can see is that the majority of our participants actually were skewed to the left of the line of 0. So suggesting in this case that most of our sample had lower gait speed than their age and sex matched norms. And that was statistically significant as well. Similarly, for lower extremity strength, as captured with the 5-time sit-to-stand test, this graph and distribution looks a little bit more normal, but at the same time, we had a statistically significant larger proportion of people who had impaired lower extremity strength as compared to expected norms. For endurance, walking endurance captured with the 6-minute walk test, so the distance walked, here we can see virtually everyone in our sample was to the left of the 0 line. In fact, this chart doesn't even show the +1 standard deviation because there was no one that actually exceeded the expected norm for endurance. And we also used a relatively novel measurement of total body strength called the isometric mid-thigh pull. It has previously been used in athletic populations primarily, but again, we found that statistically significant difference in that a larger proportion of our sample had impairments in total body strength. And then the next thing we wanted to do was within our sample, because we had 50% of the people with painful neuropathy in their feet, we wanted to compare those with and those without neuropathy. And this shows our regression analysis where we adjusted for age and sex and years living with HIV. But just to zero in on what happened with the presence of neuropathy, we found that those with neuropathy had impaired walking endurance, impaired lower limb strength, and impaired total body strength compared to those who did not have neuropathy in their feet. And again, those are the variables for physical performance. We also looked more specifically at gait using instrument and walkway. And again, this was multiple regression with adjustments, but zeroing in on the differences between neuropathy. Those individuals with neuropathy had slower gait velocity over a 6-minute walk, smaller step length, and also more gait variability. And there's evidence that greater amounts of gait variability might predispose people to risk of falls. So of concern there in our folks that have neuropathy in their feet. And conclusions here, pretty much just recapping what I just said, and I'll be with my poster later to talk more about it.